Doll's body. Doll's body was discovered haunting the dark alleyways of San Francisco. It takes the appearance of an ornate porcelain doll. It can be found sitting on benches or stairs in isolated places and absolutely not be disturbed. A person usually finds it by hearing the sounds of a young girl crying. Most people would investigate and find the doll. Many would just leave seeing that doll, feeling something unnatural about it, and would just leave, especially with not finding a crying young woman. Some people are foolish and will either attempt to keep looking for the girl or investigate the doll. Either way, the longer one stays in the vicinity of Doll's body, the more they put themselves at risk. Eventually, even those people not finding anything will leave themselves. But at that point, it's too late. That person will suddenly start seeing the doll everywhere they're going, sitting on benches braced against trees or poles as if it was following them. The sounds of a girl's crying doesn't go away either. It actually gets louder and louder the longer Doll's body follows its victim. Getting into a car or running away doesn't lose the doll either. It will follow them all the way until that person gets home. Once that person is home, it will wait. Looking out the window, the person will find Doll's body waiting for them, innocently placed so that every time they look out the mirror or open the door, the first thing seen is Doll's body. The crying never stops either. It'll go on all day and all night non-stop. The crying and begging of a young girl. It's loud enough that the person Doll's body is stalking is no longer able to go to sleep easily. This is ongoing for days, sometimes even weeks at a time. Just the poor victim being tortured by Doll's body. Attempts to explain about the doll fails too, as when pointed out to other people, the doll vanishes, only to reappear when that person is alone again. Again, the crying is still heard in the background, only heard by the person Doll's body is messing with. Eventually, when that person is driven to the pit of despair, at the point where they're about to be driven insane by the constant crying, it all stops. Doll's body stops appearing, the crying is no longer heard. It looks as if the doll finally gave up and left its victim. Relieved, a person will go to sleep to have the first restful night they had in a long time. The next morning, they'll wake up to discover that Doll's body is in their bedroom. And then the crying starts again, louder than ever before. At that point, Doll's body is following them room to room. Nowhere is safe from the doll. Locking it in another room will just cause it to be found in a different room when you next enter it. Trying to destroy it fails too, as the moment a person approaches Doll's body with an intent to destroy it, it vanishes in a blink. The crying never stops, and along with the lack of sleep, the person starts experiencing extreme moments of terrible headaches. Blood starts dripping randomly from nose, ears, eyes, and mouth. They start getting physically weak, the lack of solid sleep taking its toll. This will continue until the person loses all will to move from bed. Finally, Doll's body will change. Pieces of its body will break and fracture as long, leathery limbs emerge from the holes exposed. The limbs, with unending bends, will take the person in an embrace, and both Doll's body and its victim will vanish from their home. The victim won't be seen again. Doll's body will appear somewhere in the city. It will even be prettier than before, with new clothing and a new paint over. Unkind, but if one hears a child's cry at night in San Francisco, it's suggested to just call the police and not draw attention to oneself.